Hey man, let me tell you something that'll shift your whole perspective. Most guys walk into relationships like it's some fair trade agreement. I give her love, she gives me loyalty. But women don't operate on that logic. You've been taught to show up with your heart open, your plans ready, your vulnerability on full display like it's some virtue. But the truth is, that kind of emotional nakedness is exactly what gets you played. If you don't understand the core truth about female psychology, women respond to how you make them feel in the moment, not what you do for them. That's the trap. That's the bait. That's the game most men lose without even knowing they were playing. Women are emotional creatures by design. This isn't an insult, it's just reality. Their sense of attraction, commitment, and attention shifts based on how emotionally regulated or dysregulated they feel around you. So when you think she left because you weren't rich enough, tall enough, or funny enough, what really happened is she stopped feeling something around you. And if you don't understand how fast that emotional state can shift, you'll keep thinking it was about your effort. Newsflash, it never was. You could have given her the world, but if the emotion died, so did her loyalty. The worst place a man can live is in the illusion that consistency equals security. You show up every day, check her text, plan dates, remember anniversaries, and one day, out of nowhere, she's cold. She's different, she's distant. You think you did something wrong, but the truth is, she's responding to an emotional undercurrent. Maybe you stopped challenging her, maybe you got too predictable, maybe your energy became soft, but she won't tell you this directly. She'll just withdraw, then blame it on not feeling it anymore. And that's how you get played while thinking you were doing everything right. Here's what you need to burn into your brain. Women are loyal to their emotions, not your actions. They're not consciously trying to betray you. They're just acting in alignment with what they feel right now. If she feels ignored, she'll seek attention. If she feels bored, she'll crave drama. If she feels insecure, she'll test you. If she feels unsafe, she'll pull back. And if she feels emotionally overwhelmed by a man's presence in a way that excites and grounds her, she'll chase him with intensity you thought only existed in movies. You're not fighting logic, you're navigating emotion. This is why emotional mastery is more important than any pickup line, dating advice, or social strategy. When you remain calm while she spirals, grounded while she tests, centered while she shifts, you become a lighthouse. And women don't swim away from lighthouses, they anchor to them. But if you get pulled into her chaos, match her emotions, beg for her validation, or question your own worth because she got moody, now you're reacting. And that's when you lose frame. That's when she starts pulling the strings, and you don't even see it happening. So what do? You learn to read emotion like a language. You learn the signs of when she's testing, when she's withdrawing, when she's pushing your boundaries to feel your strength. Most guys see these moments as problems, but the high-value man sees them as invitations to lead, to assert, calmly, to stay still when everything in you wants to chase. That restraint, that calm confidence, it screams masculine power, and that's what keeps a woman coming back. Not just your love, but your leadership. You don't have to be rich, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be rooted. Women crave safety, and not financial safety first, but emotional safety. Can she feel your strength when she loses hers? Can she collapse into you emotionally without you collapsing with her? Can she throw a tantrum and see that you don't react like a child? That's the man she respects. That's the man she fears losing. And that fear, that's what keeps her loyal, not obligation, not guilt, emotional gravity. Let me break this down even further. Women test men not because they're evil, but because their nervous system is wired to seek out strength. Her tests are not insults. They're her way of asking, are you real? She'll say something passive-aggressive. She'll pull back for no reason. She'll flirt with uncertainty. And if you respond with panic or neediness, you've failed the test. But if you smile, hold your frame, and don't chase, suddenly her energy changes. Because you didn't fall for the bait. And that means you're strong, and strength is sexy. The truth is, most women aren't even fully aware of how their emotional patterns work. They live in their feelings moment to moment, adapting, reacting, shifting. One minute she's fantasizing about a life with you, and the next she's ghosting you without explanation. You want to know why? Because the emotional thread snapped, and you never saw it coming. Not because you were bad, but because you were unaware, and awareness is everything. Once you start watching her energy more than her words, you start to see what's really going on. So what's the core truth you need to understand? That women don't fall for what you do, they fall for how you make them feel. Not in a fake, performative way, but in your natural, grounded presence. A woman wants to feel seen, but not smothered. She wants to feel led, but not controlled. She wants to feel pursued, but not chased. It's a balance most men never learn because they're too busy trying to be nice instead of being real. But once you learn this balance, once you master emotional awareness, you become the kind of man women don't play with, because your presence demands respect. So stop trying to memorize the right things to say. Instead, start becoming the man who doesn't need to say much at all. Be the man who doesn't react to disrespect, who walks away from emotional games, who doesn't flinch when she threatens to leave. Your calm becomes your power. Your silence becomes your boundary. Your lack of neediness becomes your attraction, and suddenly you're not chasing her energy, you're controlling the room with your own. Let her be unpredictable. Let her feel her storms. Your job is not to fix her emotions, it's to remain grounded in yours. When you become that kind of man, women stop playing games with you, because the game doesn't work anymore. They sense it, they feel it, that you're not easily shaken, that you don't lose sleep over confusion, that you don't fall in love with a mask. You wait, you watch, you choose. And that power, that's what keeps you unplayed. You've got to stop assigning permanence to temporary behavior. Just because she said I love you doesn't mean she'll mean it next week. Just because she opened up once doesn't mean she's yours forever. Women move with emotion, and emotion shifts. But if your identity stays steady, then her shifts don't rock your core. You become stable, you become immovable, and ironically, that's what makes her feel safe enough to stay. A woman is a reflection of your energy. If you show up needy, she mirrors it with distance. If you show up insecure, she mirrors it with tests. If you show up strong but emotionally balanced, she mirrors it with softness and surrender. So stop trying to change her reactions and start mastering your actions. That's the only way you win. That's the only way you stop getting played, because she can't play a man who doesn't need to be chosen to feel like a man. Every time you tolerate disrespect, over-explaining, chasing, apologizing for your masculinity, you train her to lose respect. Women are drawn to men they can look up to, not control. So be that man. Speak less, observe more, lead with direction, not desperation. And most importantly, remember this: women don't fall in love with the guy who tries to make her happy. They fall in love with the guy who's already at peace with himself. So many guys fall apart because they don't understand emotional detachment. They think it's cold, they think it's uncaring, but it's not. Detachment is clarity. It's the ability to witness emotion without becoming it. When she pulls back, you don't panic. When she's hot and cold, you stay warm. When she ghosts, you don't chase. And that emotional stillness, that's what stops the game in its tracks, because she realizes this man doesn't fold. Understand this, and you're free. You don't need her to choose you. You need to choose you, your peace, your purpose, your standard. If she aligns, great. If she doesn't, let her go. And do it with calm, because you know your value, because you know that her leaving doesn't diminish your worth. It just reveals that she wasn't meant for the version of you that refuses to be played. The men who get played are the ones who build their life around a woman's presence. Don't be that guy. Build your life so strong, so fulfilling, so complete that her presence enhances it, but her absence doesn't break it. That's the kind of man she can't manipulate. That's the kind of man she won't risk losing, because your energy isn't chasing, it's attracting, and she feels the difference. Every moment you choose your peace over her chaos, you become harder to replace. Every time you lead instead of reacting, you become more rare. Every time you say no to emotional games and yes to your standard, you stop being another guy in her past and start being the one she can't forget, because power doesn't scream, it whispers. And a man who knows himself doesn't need to convince anyone else. So hear me now and hear me forever. Once you understand that women follow emotional gravity, not promises or gifts or good intentions, you stop trying to earn love and start commanding it. You stop overthinking and start observing. You stop begging and start leading. And suddenly, everything changes. Because you're no longer a boy looking to be chosen, you're a man who chooses, and that's when you become unplayable.